Hello, my name is Ricky Berger, and I am pleased to announce that this is the premiere edition of Aikido Perspectives. I am your co-host, and my other host is David Halprin Sensei. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, my student.
So it starts off with the fact that was really odd. Yes, you are my sensei, and I am a lowly student.
We're just closing that the very first thing.
That's exactly correct. So we're here to create a show called Aikido Perspectives, where we are going to talk about the Kanai line of Aikido and all other perspectives of Aikido as well. Correct,
Right.
Sensei?
That's correct.
Okay. So we don't know what we're doing. This is the first time we've ever done this.
That's right.
And
We've never even thought about this before.
But, we're happy to be here and happy to do this. I think the first thing that we should put on tape is, what is the Kanai line of Aikido and how were you brought to it, Sensei? Would you like to sort of give a brief description of your background and why we're here doing this?
First question about what is the Kanai line? I mean, in a way, it's like going a little overboard to call it the Kanai line in a way,
Okay.
But definitely there are a group of people who were strongly influenced by Kanai Sensei. And, for those of us who were his students, we really loved the guy and learned so much from him.
Mm-hmm.
So he really gave us like a very personal connection to Aikido through him, which, is a great thing.
How long did you study with Kanai Sensei?
I think I was in the dojo full-time for 23 years. And then starting in 2000 till 2004, I was both at my own new dojo in Framingham and back at New England Aikikai.
Right. And your dojo was Framingham Aikikai?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So, could you tell us about this perspective? I mean, I know I may have overstated it to say that it is its own line of Aikido, but could you just sort of talk about the Kanai perspective a little and how it was influenced by other students of O Sensei and sort of how that happened within a certain time frame? Because I know that that's something that you tend to stress when we talk privately.
Right. O Sensei's more or less last group of uchi were the guys who were all our teachers. So in other words, we would see Yamada Sensei, Chiba Sensei, Tamura Sensei, Sugano Sensei, Tohei Sensei, Shibata Sensei, Kurita Sensei. A lot. I mean, a lot more than most people did. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot is relative, but a lot more than most people did.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so the picture I got from what Kanai Sensei told me and also my own observations was that this group of guys who was sort of with O Sensei in the last part of his life got pretty tight in certain ways. And they shared a lot in terms of their perspective. And also, they were all like really serious characters about martial arts. So I think it was kind of a special group of uchideshi. I mean, there's different groups, like teachers who teach for a long time have sort of cohorts of students.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So for those who are not directly in the Aikido world, Ushideshi means a live-in student?
Yeah, inside student.
Inside student?
Yeah, literally.
Okay. So that's someone who's super dedicated to learning Aikido and...
Yeah, so basically, those guys, when they were doing that, they were at the dojo practically 24 hours a day.
Okay.
And taking care of O Sensei in really personal ways, too, like, getting his bath ready and...
Really?
Yeah.
So now this
reading to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now this was in Japan, in Tokyo,
Right.
or in Iwama?
No. It's Hambu Dojo.
In Hambu Dojo, in Tokyo. And these people lived there. These Ushideshi lived there and took care of O Sensei.
Yeah. I think there were some cases where they didn't literally sleep there, but were there every waking moment, more or less. There's some, so there's a little bit of variability, but yeah, there were like, sounds like between 5 and 8 of them that was living in the dojo at any given time.
And they were studying from the founder of Aikido,
Yeah.
Morihei Ueshiba.
Right.
And so, and for those who don't know Aikido or are new to Aikido, when was Aikido started by O Sensei?
Well, again, like most things associated with Aikido, you can't. It's hard to fix an exact date because he was a man that studied many other martial arts, and then because of his strong spiritual beliefs, which he got from another teacher, he gradually developed what we now know as Aikido.
Okay, so all these uchi deshi are in Japan studying under O Sensei, and then at some point they end up around the world, including in America.
Right.
And some of those senseis are the senseis that Kanai Sensei was very close to, that you knew of and you saw those relationships, right?
Correct.
When did that happen? Like, in what time frame did they disperse out and sort of come to America?
So I think Yamada Sensei came in 1964. And Kanai Sensei came in 66. I think they started practicing like around 55 to 58, somewhere in there.
Right. And were these guys always in complete agreement about how they do the art, how they do Aikido?
No, not at all.
Okay, this is where it gets fun, right?
Right.
Okay, can you tell us sort of how that, from your own perspective, what you saw and how that related to how your sensei, Kanai Sensei, developed what he did in his personal style? I mean, that's sort of
Would you
like...
repeat the question?
I object. That question is...
I don't
vague.
understand the question.
That's fair, counselor. I mean, sensei. So, I mean, what I'm interested in understanding is how all of these senseis, all these ushideshi, who are now the leading instructors in the United States and around the world,
Were, for the most part.
Right. How they brought their perspectives to each other and then to the students as Aikido began to grow worldwide.
Right. So...
Is that a clearer question?
No. I still don't understand it, but...
What did you see?
What did I say? Well, I got to see most of the senseis both interacting professionally, like teaching at camps and seminars, and also because for a long time I was kind of following Kanai Sensei around, I got to see them and their personal interactions, which was very enlightening. And also just to see them when they're alone, that was very enlightening too.
Right.
But it was the interactions between them, because they really are quite different, even though they share a very strong thing.
Right. Could you give us some examples of those interactions?
Oh, like, okay, one time I was with Kanai Sensei in San Diego at Shiba Sensei's dojo. And after the seminar, they're both like huge fishermen, really love to fish. After the seminar, or maybe it was before, because we came early that time. Maybe it was before. I think it was after, though. We went fishing.
Okay.
Which was really exciting for both of them. They're both really into it.
Yep.
So we went out to some location on the San Diego Harbor.
Okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
And we went out on the rocks. Oh, there's a rock jetty that went into the ocean. So, very far. But you could climb on the rocks, but it's
right.
Not that stable. And well, it was fine. No, I take that out. No, it was fine. It was just rocks, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the rocks go out, and on this side it's the boat channel into the harbor.
Okay.
Where the boats are coming in.
Okay.
And on this side there's like nothing. So we get out there, and Shiba Sensei says to Kanai Sensei, "Only fish on this side. Don't fish on that side."
Okay. Why?
Because because it's the boat channel.
Oh, okay.
So in the quieter waters, where the fish are.
Right.
so much agitation in that lane
Right. Yep.
that they don't go there.
Right.
So they then both proceeded to fish. However, Kanai Sensei went to the boat side and fished there all day.
And what happened?
He didn't catch anything.
Did Chiba catch fish?
He caught fish on the other side, yeah. But,
Did he do it just because Chiba told him not to?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he did. Now, that's a funny kind of interaction. Like, shows you something about their relationship that I think is interesting.
Right. Now, so you're hanging around with Kanai Sensei for all those years meant you got to hang around with a lot of the other senseis as well.
Right, especially when they were interacting more.
Even privately, even in things like this.
Yeah.
So who else did you sort of have these kinds of exposure to?
Well, secondly would be Yamada Sensei from New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then thirdly would be Chiba Sensei.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Sugano Sensei. And then, something like that.
And there were trips to Japan as well, right?
Yeah, well, I only went once, unfortunately. I was stupid.
Okay. Oh, really?
I should have gone more.
How often did Kanai go back to Japan?
Very rarely.
Okay.
Kanai Sensei.
Kanai Sensei, excuse me. I apologize. So, when we talk about... Well, let's talk about Aikido, and let's talk about... To the extent there really is different strains of Aikido or not.
Right.
Because there's a lot of talk about there's different schools or different lines.
Right.
There's the United States Aikido Federation. There's other federations. Some people have left one federation or started their other federation. Could you sort of give us an overview of what that's all about?
Well, I think on the one hand, you have a thing that for Aikido is new and still, sort of personally connected to the founder in a certain way.
Yes.
It's not the only one. Kano Sensei in Judo, he was around, approximately the same period. And I think in other arts too, karate and everything. But it's a little bit personalized. But on the other hand, it went off in a lot of different directions very fast on a small scale.
Mm-hmm.
But later, most of those things, got further and further away. So in some cases, I think it was like a game of telephone where...
Oh, I see. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like people didn't get the message right. And then in other cases, just because people have different personalities and they like to do things different ways.
Right.
And then, some of it also just due to like who liked each other and who didn't like each other. But you did wind up with a bunch of different organizations. I don't know everything, but, basically, Tomiki Sensei broke away and started Tomiki Aikido, I think either before or after the war. Same thing with Shioda Sensei, Yoshinkan style.
Right, okay.
And there are probably other ones that are not coming to me at the moment. But
right.
So that was like really early. And I think even before that, O Sensei had a cousin that kind of broke off, that did it with him and then broke off. But I'm not so sure, that's, I'm not that clear on it. Anyway, where was I?
Well, we're just talking about, are there styles, where did they come from? Is there a unified Aikido, or are there different strains? Just that as a general concept.
Yeah, there's different strains. There's absolutely different strains.
But that's the same thing with karate, right? Karate has different strains.
Right.
Sword technique, sword schools have different strains, right?
Right.
And I think that you said that some of it comes down to the personalities involved, including the chief instructor of a style,
right?
Who brings their personality to the art and says, no, we should move like this, or
right.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay. So, to a large extent, if people are arguing about what's right or wrong, it's the wrong question. Is it, Sensei? Or is it not the wrong question?
It's right to ask the question, but wrong to assume what the answer is.
Okay.
So, I mean, part of the interesting thing is to figure out what are the differences. And, like, I think part of what we want to do in our perspective and describing our perspective is like some way to classify it all and say, you know, like I kind of view it as like a solar system or a universe.
Right.
And, you know, it's one of those posters, you are here in the universe, right? And I think that Aikido is still enough of a big family so that, you know, people should at least keep track of the comings and goings and understand that there were different ones and be able to place themselves in the stream, in the universe. I think that's very helpful for people because, you know, if they have a better understanding of their perspective in terms of the total perspective, that's best for their learning.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is it's great to learn what you're learning in your dojo and that style, but it's also great to see how someone else, another style, does the exact same technique so that you understand where they are and where you are.
Right. And later you find yourself adopting certain things from other so-called schools.
So that informs me of like why when I've been at camps with you, you stress that, look, just do what the instructor tells you. And that's how you learn it.
Right. That's the Aikido method of pedagogy.
Right. So, sort of we're closing in on this premiere edition. I wondered if you'd want to share just a few stories about either Kanai Sensei or any of the other earlier senseis that you found amusing in the past.
Amusing.
Yeah. One or two amusing anecdotes as we play ourselves out.
Well, if I said I found any of them amusing, they would be like, "Oh, you find me amusing?"
Yeah, I understand. I apologize.
Yeah. It would be like that scene from Goodfellas, right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that.
No, I'm sorry. I meant newsworthy.
But, you know, like, you know, it was those guys that I knew best were a great group. And they had a lot of differences, but they had certain things they shared. And it was great to see that. I mean, I felt I was, like, really blessed to have that perspective. I thought it was really cool.
That's wonderful. Now, Aikido itself is not supposed to be competitive.
Correct.
Okay, so we don't fight with each other. We work with each other.
Right.
At high volume, but we work with each other.
Right.
But were these guys competitive with each other in any way?
Yeah. I think they were in some good ways and some bad ways, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think the good ways were, you know, where they're analyzing like the serious issues about Aikido and different techniques, and the bad thing where you just, you know, have, you know, interpersonal issues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this, and let me just say, for anyone who hasn't seen David Halpern Shihan's ukemi, it was and is brilliant. What's the hardest you've ever been thrown in by whom?
Oh. God, that's a good question. I think everybody threw me really hard. Yeah.
Does any one throw remain in your memory to the extent your memory hadn't been knocked out by the throw?
Well, I just remember, like, one time when we're doing, I was taking ukemi for Kanai Sensei, and he was doing Morote Tori Iriminage. And I felt like I got just sucked inside a glob, like a vortex of, you know, some semi-solid material. And so I just got sucked in. I was like, and at that moment I was like, oh, anything could happen here, including my death.
You felt that?
Yeah.
In an instant?
And of course it didn't.
Right.
But having that feeling was really an amazing experience. And I think all of those teachers gave their students such moments.
Right. Wow.
And that's really an important part of Aikido, you know, and passing along Aikido, like really in terms of the practice itself.
That's excellent. Thank you, Sensei. Is there anything else you'd like to add in this premiere edition that we haven't talked about?
Well, we've said that we want to try to provide a perspective. A lot of Aikido happened before the time that we have any personal perspective. So I think part of the job is going to be to compare different historical sources about the development of Aikido and the life of O Sensei, prior to the time we were around.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of good work that's been done, but I think probably there's a lot of more work that could be done in that area.
Would you consider inviting other people into the show on microphone to talk about how they look at their perspectives of Aikido?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Here's the deal. We're applying the etiquette of being in the dojo to these things.
Okay. Yes.
So when you're talking to someone in the dojo, you don't get rude, right?
Right.
And sort of keep yourself under control, whichever way the discussion is going.
Right.
So, and you appreciate that these other people are like letting you use their bodies for scientific experiments.
Right.
So, it makes I think the interpersonal relations just a little bit more smoothed out than maybe on average in society.
I understand. In other words, what happens in the dojo is the same thing we want to try to have happen in life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're not going to try to kill each other to decide who's right.
No, it's not a debate. It's an interaction.
Right.
That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you, Sensei. This has been the premiere edition of Aikido Perspectives. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.